Buckle up. We just got breaking news in the NBA that LeBron James has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. And a lot of people are not going to like me because I don't like this decision. I don't think this 76ers team, it was a good fit for him, and I don't think that they'll be contenders heading into next season, despite what everyone else believes and thinks this is the greatest starting lineup we've ever seen. This team has clear and obvious flaws to me that we're going to break down throughout the course of this video. But after he signed, the 76ers jumped to second in the Eastern Conference as far as favorites to win the NBA Finals, right behind the New York Knicks, and they're basically tied. I think people are grossly overrating what this 76ers team is going to look like. And when you look at the way that they've constructed their roster before LeBron James got there, you already had question marks about who is going to handle the basketball and who is going to take a back seat. You're talking about a player in Joel Embiid that won an MVP a few years ago, and last year averaged 27 points per game in the games that he did play. But you're talking about a player in Embiid that has played 40% of their games over the last 3 years. LeBron James, at 42 years old, is hitching his wagon to a guy who doesn't stay on the basketball court. And when he only has 1 or 2 more years to play, what if Embiid goes down with an injury early and their backup centers are Adam Bona and Ariel Hukporti, guys who averaged 5 and 4 last year? Adam Bona did 5 and 4 in 71 games, and Ariel Hukporti, 2 points, 2.9 rebounds for the Knicks in 54 games. Yes, Ariel Hukporti has a ring from winning a championship with the Knicks. No, that does not mean he is a starting caliber center in the NBA. And if Embiid goes down, what is the Sixers' backup option? What are they going to do if Embiid goes down with an injury? They will have very little size, very little rebounding, and almost no rim protection because at this point in his career, LeBron just isn't there. But that's not the biggest question mark. The biggest question mark is you just traded for Jaylen Brown, a player that said his favorite season in the NBA was last year when Jason Tatum was hurt and he was able to run the show. Yes, he finished 6th in MVP. His usage rate was 35% last year. He averaged 29 points per game. And Jaylen Brown needs the basketball to be effective. He's not a high-quality off-ball basketball player. That's not where he thrives. That's not his best skill set. Again, Embiid, high usage player, 32% usage rate. Jaylen Brown, 35% usage rate. Tyrese Maxey, 29% usage rate, 28 points per game. And he's developing into one of the best young guards in the entire NBA. How is Jaylen Brown, Tyrese Maxey, LeBron James, Joel Embiid going to fit on a court? And that is not counting the fact that VJ Edgecombe was a rookie last year, averaging 16 a game. His usage rate was 19%. And he's only going to want to continue to develop because he has not got his huge payday in the NBA yet. So him coming in and proving that he will be, a max level player is important for a young basketball guard trying to prove his value in the NBA. VJ Edgecombe is not going to want to take a back seat to all these other players, and Jaylen Brown is coming from Boston, not wanting to be the second option. LeBron coming from Los Angeles, not wanting to be the third option. How are they all going to fit together? And if the answer is Embiid's going to miss a lot of games, well, then you have no plan as a backup center. And I just don't understand how this team meshes and fits together. Off the bench, you have guys like Anthony Simons, who, I really liked in Boston last year. He can score really well off the bench. Again, a guy who kind of needs the basketball in his hands to be effective. And Dean Wade, versatile off the bench. I like Dean Wade off the bench. They have Caleb Love, Justin Edwards, and then those 2 backup centers I talked about, Adam Bona and Ariel Hukporti. But how is this team going to be a real NBA championship contender? Because you're talking about a player in Embiid who has not stayed healthy for a playoff run ever, has come up short in the playoffs time and time again, and LeBron fitting into 2 high usage players in Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown with VJ Edgecombe. This doesn't seem like a good match to me. And his other options for LeBron seemed way more seamless, especially in Cleveland when you had, 2 guards. LeBron could have fit right into that forward spot next to Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, who are great rim protectors, can cover up some of his defensive flaws. This team is not going to be great on the defensive end of the court because Embiid does not move the way that he once did. At his highest level, Embiid was a good rim protector. LeBron James was a great defender. Both of those guys are not at that point in their careers anymore. Jaylen Brown's a good defender. VJ Edgecombe is serviceable. And Tyrese Maxey's all right on the defensive end of the court. But this is not going to be a great defensive team. It's also not going to be a great shooting team because all those guys that we're discussing are mediocre three-point shooters. Tyrese Maxey's solid. Jaylen Brown's iffy. LeBron James has, developed later at this point in his career. He's a good three-point shooter. Joel Embiid is pretty hit or miss. This team is not going to shoot the three ball at a high clip. They're not going to defend at a high clip. And on the offensive end of the court, it's a really, really clunky fit to me. So, yes, I might be standing alone on this hill that I am not super impressed by this 76ers team, but it's just how I feel. And I owe it to you to be honest. I'm not a guy who's coming out here and giving you hot takes. That's not my goal. It is to evaluate teams as honestly as possible. And when I look around the rest of the Eastern Conference, I don't see this 76ers team as a real title contender. I don't think they can compete with the New York Knicks. And, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the rest of the Eastern Conference because the Heat lineup isn't done. The Cavs, they still need to fill 3 roster spots, and James Harden hasn't re-signed. The Orlando Magic, will they take a step forward? The Pistons, will they re-sign Jalen Duren? The Eastern Conference has a lot of really good basketball teams, and I think the Sixers just kind of fit into that group of middling 4 or 5 seed in the East, and going into the playoffs, I don't trust them to be healthy. I just don't. And it's unfortunate because I am a LeBron fan. I've always loved watching his game. Jaylen Brown, obviously, I'm a Celtics fan. Obviously, Jaylen Brown's been one of my favorite players for a long time. I just don't think the fit is there. Now, if you told me that Embiid was going to be healthy throughout the playoffs, I think that talent would be incredible. But we've seen many, many times where very talented teams have not been able to mesh and not been able to bring out the best in each other. And the Sixers were lacking in, passing, kind of distributing the basketball. So bringing in LeBron does help them on that front. And, I think bringing in LeBron makes them a better basketball team. I just don't think that it's good enough to really contend for an NBA championship this upcoming year. It'll be very interesting to see, but absolute fireworks with some of the moves this NBA offseason. I can't wait for the upcoming season. If you love the NBA, make sure you take a second to subscribe to the channel. If you disagree with me, feel free to rip me. I do not care. I'm telling you how I feel, and we'll get to see who's right heading into next NBA season. That's all we got for you right now. Appreciate y'all watching. Cyborg out.